Hey everyone, Rajat here, back again with yet another video. So have you ever wondered how can you become a software professional or a software developer or a software engineer coming from a non-STEM background? Now if you do not know STEM are the branches which particularly deal with science, technology and mathematics, right? So if you are not coming from any of those backgrounds, how can you get started with software development? How can you get a job in software development? How can you build such skills so as to make yourself worthy enough to get that job or to work on that product? So in this video, I'm going to give you some actionable tips which you can follow in order to get started with software development, and then you can progress onto some software engineering things. So before I give you this actionable list, I should give you tip number 0, and that is just take a chill pill and learn everything as per what you feel comfortable with, right? So just do not buy into the hype that you need to learn this thing, that thing in order to become a professional developer, in order to become that chic developer, right? So you have to learn stuff, but you have to learn stuff at your own pace. If you are going to hurry into things, you are not going to grasp the concepts with proper genuinity or with proper sincerity, and that is going to hurt you in the long run. Just do not try to cross items of your bucket list of this software development learning or software engineering learning. Just try to learn stuff at your own pace, and that is the tip number 0. So the tip number 1 is pick one programming language and just do not care about all other programming languages out there, at least for a while, unless you learn the basics. So before you learn a programming language, you have to do your research about what sort of industry you want to join. If you want to join machine learning, then you might be interested in learning R or Python. If you are interested in joining some mobile development company, maybe you want to learn Java, Kotlin or Swift, depending upon whether you want to be an iOS developer or an Android developer. If you want to become a generalist or a general web developer, then JavaScript might be of interest. So first of all, you need to figure out what sort of industry you want to join or what sort of programming job you really want, and then you should pick a programming language that is quite prevalent in that particular camp. The second tip is learn the basics of programming, and that includes how to do branching, how to do loops and other constructs like that. So you can just pick up a book from the programming language you have already chosen from step 1, and then you can just learn the basics of how you can do branching, how you can write if statements, how you can write loops in your programming language of choice, and that will comprise the stage number 2, where you learn to write your thoughts as some logical program which a computer can execute. So this will give you enough exposure to how you can actually arrange your thoughts in a logical block and how to package that thing up as a program so that you can give that program over to a computer and it can execute and it can work as per your requirements. So that will teach you the basics of programming. Now you know the programming language and you know the basics of branching, and also now you are in a stage where you can write simple program, and that is the stage number 3. So in stage number 3, just write very simple, ultra simple programs which you probably will not be proud of, but which will teach you enough about debugging, enough about refactoring, enough about writing simple blocks of programs. And those programs can be some throwaway programs. You do not have to care about the code quality. You do not have to care about whether that program has some sort of XYZ and fancy software development principle. Just make them work, and that should be your goal at this stage, because you know the programming language to a certain extent only. You are not that proficient in software development at this stage, right? So you should really focus on what you already know, and that is branching and other basic programming concepts. So you can write some programs like printing Fibonacci depending upon the number input. Then you can also write programs about printing several patterns, and you can do other nifty things like that. And if you are learning web development, maybe you want to learn how to take input from the user using web forms, HTML forms, and things like that. So write just ultra simple program. So you should really slow it down at this particular stage. So do not just rush things up. If you are able to write that program, just try to think of creative ways you can modify this program in, right? And then try to write the modification. And maybe if you really feel like going in, you can just modify these programs so that the core of the program does not change, but then you can write several sort of modifications using the same code. So this will also teach you about reusing code and things like that. And this will comprise of stage 3, where you are going to write several throwaway program, which is going to build your muscle memory or programmer memory as a programmer, or as a new programmer, I would say. Then you will progress on to stage 4, where you are going to learn certain software development or software engineering related principles, like using some design patterns, like how to do refactoring, how to write decoupled code, and other things like that. Here you can learn some higher level concepts which are very prevalent in software engineering. Now you can think about how can you make your program really modular, how can you reuse existing piece of code, how you can make libraries which you can upload on the internet or which you can open source and others can use your program with ease, right? And how to write documentation for the project, how to use singleton design pattern, how to use observer design pattern, and how to consume such patterns in your program. Now, in this particular stage, you are going to learn all of those things, and there is no specified order in which you should learn these. You can learn all of these concepts at your own pace. But yes, as I've already talked about, try to slow things down. Just do not buy into the hype of anything. So stay away from the clickbaity articles which you are going to encounter on your software journey, that you need to learn this framework, that language, this thing, that concept, that sort of refactoring, that sort of TDD, BDD, right? All of these things are necessary, but you cannot just cram all of that down in a small time frame. You need some ginormous time frame in order to learn all of those. So you should really focus on what is actually important at this stage, and that is to learn the basics in such a way where you are actually able to write programs without much googling, and you know the basic concepts pretty well, so that in case you are interviewing for an entry-level job, you at least know your stuff well. And that is just not the theoretical knowledge, that is the practical knowledge. You can actually write programs, because some of my friends visit college campuses, and when they ask students to write some programs, they are just unable to write, although they know what encapsulation is, what inheritance is, what overriding is. But when they are asked to write programs exhibiting that same property, they just cannot, because they have never practiced that. You do not have to become a professional like that, because at the end of the day, you cannot fool a recruiter, you cannot fool a technical person. If you do not know your stuff, you cannot BS your way to the recruitment process, right? So just take a chill pill, follow these 4 stages, and try to learn at your own pace. So that is it. That is everything I wanted to tell you guys about this particular how to become a software developer coming from a non-STEM field. And in case you have any doubts regarding subject matter, make sure you leave a comment on this video, because hey, I read every single comment that you guys leave on this channel, and I try my best to address your queries to the best of my ability. In case I do not know something, I just ask my friends or other professional I can get my hands on, and I can also do my own research, or maybe probably come up with a new video, right? So be rest assured that if it is in my abilities, I'll try to rectify your queries. And make sure to subscribe to this channel in case you are interested about building softwares, app entrepreneurship, app development, and other things related to software development. I see you guys over in the next video.